Okay. So everyone, now we have the second part. So for this second part, we will have the part regarding restricting and sorting data, as well as you have single row functions. And in this case, you see that you have the same SQL syntax such that you have to select according to the column name. You have aggregate functions such that you can apply min, max, sum, or div according to the column name. You also have to specify from which table you want to sort it. And for it, you have the filtering according to the column name. So it can be greater than, less than a certain value, or to start with, again, a certain value. Then this means that you can also group by. So grouping by means that you can do, let's say, the sum of all the salaries of the employees which belong to a certain department or who have a certain manager. And in this case, what you can do if you have them all, let's say that you do the sum of all the salaries per department, you can see that department who has, which has the sum of the salaries greater than a certain value. So remember that where is used for filtering according to one row, while having is used for filtering according to a group of rows. And this means that, let's say we have multiple employees, and I want to see just those employees who have the salary which is greater than a certain value. So if I go here, you see that you have this kind of writing the select on one line according to the columns that you want to have, like last name and salary. Then you have on the new line the from keyword. You need to specify the table employees in uppercase or lowercase. And you also have the where to do the filtering per row. And in this case, you do the filtering based on the salary. Okay, and you can also have the order by, and you can put it with 2, and it will be in ascending order. So like here. Then what you can have is to have them placed inside intervals, the salary and the department. So it means that here the salary is with between. Here you can see that you have the salary between some values. So you will have this salary which belongs to my closed interval with 5,000 and 12,000. Okay, 5, 0, 0, 0, and I have 12,000. Wait, 0, 0, 0. Then I have my department in. When you write this in and you have the round braces, it means that my department ID belongs to the set where I have this 20 as a value, and or it can be 50. Okay, so it gets all the employees from department 20 or 50 having the salary inside this range of values. Okay, so I will place it in the chat and let's see. So it means that I run it, and if I also add here department underscore ID, you will see that the department is or 20 or 50. Okay, and and you see here that you have the logical and, so you need to have them both true. If you put or, it means that you will have to reunite them. Whether one is true, you reunite and you have multiple records. Okay. Then what you have is that you can see that the hire date can be during 1 year. So for example, you will have the employee based on last name and hire date, and I want to see just the persons who were hired during the whole year 1999. Okay, so your hire date should be starting with it and until the beginning of the 1st of January of the following year. So don't forget that you have this end, you just need to run it again and it works. It has just some error inside. Okay, so being cloud-based, it can provide you some errors, it depends on the internet. So it means that here you get the last name of the person, you have the hire date, and they are exactly the persons hired during the year 1999. Then what you can have is that you can check whether a column is null or not. Oh, let's see. Okay. Right, going back here. Okay. You have last name, salary, and commission percentage taken from the table employees, and I want to have an existent commission percentage. So it needs to be not null, and you can order according to the salary in decreasing order, as well as you order according to the percentage. So if I don't place here desk, it will be in ascending order. Okay, so as you can see. And whether you have to by ascending order and you have two values of the same type for salary, the commission percentage will be simply filtered. So here don't forget that you want to check whether you do have some value. So you can check even with is null. Okay, and you receive those records where it doesn't exist. You can have it in these ways. Then what you can have is according to letters. So let's take this one, which is more complex. Okay. And you have the difference between one character versus multiple characters. Okay. And again, it wasn't copied. Okay. And let's say that we have this underscore. So here you have last name. You take it from employees and you want to have last name having A on the third position. So as you can see here, you have two underscores being two letters. You have A, and modulus means no matter how many characters you've got at the end, while you also want the same last name to have E inside. And you can see that you have the single quote here in between. Okay, so you have single quote with single quote, while for alias you add a double quote and you can write employee last name. And for it, it can be A or no matter the position, and you have the logical and between them, while the alias is the one which you did assign. And what you can do is to also have or. So whether it exists or not, you just reunite the sets. Okay. Then what you can have is to also increase a value. And for this function, you can have the salary to be increased by 15%, meaning that you need to multiply the salary with 15, and let's say it's 0.5. And what you can do is to round it. Round it according to 0 means not to have anything after the comma, so to be an integer. But if I also want to have the cents, I would write this 2, and you would have it according. So it is a 2, and as you can see, it is with this 0.5. Okay, where it can be. Okay, and this would be your new salary. If I don't put the alias, so if I don't write new salary, it will display the name of the function. So the name of the function will appear here on the top. So as you can see, it's round of salary multiplied with your value. So always put new alias so you can have new cell, for example. Okay, and you have it one by one. All right, then what you can do is to also have more functions. Okay, such that you can put the name. It can start just to have the initial, so the first letter to be in uppercase. You can also get the length, as well as you want those persons who have the name starting in J, in M, or in A. So some quote appear because of the copy paste from this PowerPoint, and you can order by last name in alphabetical order. So when you run it, you see that you need the persons who have the last name starting in J, M, or A. And you will also have this last name in alphabetical order, or else you can put it in descending order. While the length function is written like in Java, where you get the length for each and every word. Okay. Then what you need to do is to create a report, and this report, which means that you have a query, you want the last name, job ID, and the hire date, who have the last name as being Matus and Taylor. As well as you also want to order according to it. Okay, so let's make it smaller. Okay, and this means that here you want last underscore name, you have job underscore ID, and you have hire underscore date. You select it from employees and you want to have your last name as being Matus, or you want last name as Taylor. Okay, and this doesn't matter. And you order in ascending order by hire date. So you can order by hire underscore date. Okay, and this is how you see them. So this is the answer for the first exercise that you need to do. So you have last name, job ID, hire date, according to one of them. So as you can see, you have the OR operation because you need just one of them to be true. It is not okay to place the AND, because for AND to be true, you need both arguments to be true, and this is impossible. Okay, you would have just something with a modulus to have inside, but they are two different persons. Okay, so I will paste it in the chat. And now you want to see for the second part, last name and job title, which is in fact job ID because you don't have joins, for those who do not have a manager. So you would have them with job. Okay. You can get it from employees where you have manager underscore ID, do not have. So it is not. Okay. So you should get a boss, and the boss is in fact king, who is the president. So here you have the filtering based on row, where manager ID is null. Again, I will paste it here for you to be easier. Okay. Then you want to find out, so the human resource department wants to know which is the duration of employment for every employee, where you know last name, and you also have the number of months. So for the number of months, you have this function. And okay, you don't need anymore the job ID. So you have the round, you have months between. Sys date is in fact the current system date, and hire date is when he got hired in the company. And what you should do is to add here an alias, because else you would see the name of the function, and it is wanted to be called months worked. You take it from employees and you need to order according to it. So if you want to order according to it, you can have this order by, and this is the second argument, and it can be ascending, descending as you want. So let's say that it is in descending order. Don't forget that this round, because it doesn't have the comma 0, it is already turned inside an integer, or else you can even add, let's say, a comma 2. So it would be that it is more than a complete month. You also have some days, weeks, so as you can see, some also have some, it is exactly how much they did work. Okay, so this is how you can see them. And this is when you also see how much the approach is. So, or you just skip it and you have the answer in this case with months between, and it is the integer value. Okay. Then what you would have is to also see the employee's last name, and you want to have the amount of their salaries with 1,000. And you also have to have them decreased. So you have this AirPad. The AirPad will have the salary. Okay. And you also have the AirPad for it. So for every 1,000 that you've got, so you replace it with this star. And let's have them one by one. So as you can see, you have them. And you should also rename it as being employees and their salary. So for every 1,000, the AirPad, so it will write and it will put to the right all the stars that are added. Okay, and you will see it in this way. And there is no more function here placed as header. Okay. Then what you can have, you can also have the left pad. So the left pad, based on the salary which they have, we can place it here. And we will see that we get the salaries, and for all the other 15 places which are not occupied, you will see the space with a dollar in front, but you can decrease it, and in this way you see it with the dollar in front. As you can see, it is left pad, so it puts the dollar sign in front. Okay, good. I will paste it here. Then what else you can do is to also see the number of weeks. When you want to see the number of weeks, in fact, you have the system date minus hire date would give you the number of days. And if I want to see which is the number of weeks, it means that I need to divide by 7, and I want just the integer part. So this is why I can use the aggregate function, which is truck. And in this case, I can have the tenure as column name. So here it is exactly when I get the number of weeks, and King is the president, so he has the longest period inside this company. Okay, so this is how. So if you want it to be ordered by the tenure, it would be the third column, meaning that you have this 3 at the end. Okay, and you would get them one by one. And this is what you should do for this exercise. Okay, let's stop.